gentlemen, and welcome back. It is another beautiful night of the F2 Created series, powered by EA Sports. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, firstly, some familiar faces, but secondly, some very, very unfamiliar territory. You lot have set the gauntlet. You lot have chosen where they will go and what stipulations will be in place. We are at marvellous Monte Carlo tonight, the jewel in the F1 crown, but our dangerous diamond here tonight. Joining me in the commentary box for whatever chaos might ensue, it is the wonderful Jessica Ball. Jessica, how are you doing? And, well, if we thought Baku was balmy, Monaco is going to be mad, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. You all voted for it. Baku was chaotic last week, and you wanted more chaos around Monaco, and it wasn't even close. Around 33% of you voted for Monaco to be the fan-voted Grand Prix, which is not really that surprising. But with the wild card, it was a lot closer. The second place vote for the wild card was the Sim Damage Grand Prix. So a lot of you wanted to do the Sim Damage Grand Prix, but we didn't get that this time around. We have got the 0-0 wings. And I've seen quite a few people practice for this one. And let's expect a bit of drifting. And we could see some interesting weather play on the horizon. We may see some rain, we may not. But according to the weather forecast, we may get a bit of rain to start things off or even end the race.
Yeah, my tongue tripping over itself in the intro there. My alternative intro to all of this was going to be, welcome to Formula Drift. Although I think that name's been taken. Anyways, before we get into Monaco, first of all, if you haven't watched whatever happened in Baku, which was one of the most crazy and yet fun weeks I've ever experienced in F2 history, then go and check it out. Because, well, it was the double dream for Formula Karim, wasn't it?
Yeah, Karim, he did not win in the first round in Singapore, and he was the bridesmaid but never the bride. But he was a bride 2 times, and we thought he couldn't win in the feature race, but he just seemed to be the one that kept it clean throughout the entirety of the feature race, and he was just the old dog, the favourite in this. And he's back here racing tonight as well, which shows that he is looking forward to some great action. There were also some really big surprises. Matty D did quite decently in the end, even though he had a little bit of bottles towards the end of it. He got driver of the day. And we also got some new faces. We got Big T Mac as well. For those who didn't know him, he's one of the really great Aussie streamers. And then we got Ricky O'Frews making his debut tonight as well. But I think Kareem will be one to watch tonight. We are about to get underway, though, with the sprint race.
Yes, the sprint race beckons in the wonderful streets of the Principality. It's going to be one sensational slobber knocker once again here in the jewel of the calendar. Monaco, of course, traditionally a downforce track, but all of you are sick in the head. You have gone to make them have horrendously high blood pressures, and so 0-0 wings. And, I mean, you said it best yourself, really, Jessica. You said it was going to be Formula Drift, but also, they have to consider so many different things besides that. Not only is it the drifting, but you've got to adjust your mind to the braking points, how soon you stamp on the throttle pedal. There's all of these micro calculations they're going to be making to ensure millimetric precision here today.
Yeah, because 50-50 wings is more than ideal around here, but with a dry track for a sprint race and with 0-0, Turn 1's going to be an issue, Sandoval. It needs so much precision. I can't imagine what the Mirabeau chicane's going to look like. I think it's going to be like a crash on the M25 or something like that. And we know with the sprints, the safety cars doesn't come out that often. So they just got to be prepared for madness. And we could see a huge upset tonight. And for those of you that are unaware with what goes on in the sprint race, for first grid, based on our championship with the F1 drivers starting at the back, well, that's going to give some opportunities for the ones near the front that don't necessarily do well to just try and avoid the carnage and maybe just make their way up front. But you never know what could happen here. But we're not getting any rain in the sprint. They tricked us. It is nice and dry at the moment in Monte Carlo.
Dry as a bone. It's absolutely unbelievable. Also, according to the flags, 0 wind whatsoever. And it will be a formation lap for us to sink our teeth into before we get proceedings underway here today. You can see your grid on the left-hand side. Of course, we're joined by GB, starting plumb last on the grid. Formula Karim, well, if he had a job to do in Baku, at least it was easy to overtake there. That's not the case here today. 16th place, and after, well, the double destruction last time out in Baku, he's going to have a hard time bulldozing his way through the field. Not that he should, because that won't garner him any points whatsoever. But this, I mean, like we say, if Baku was a complete bonanza from start to finish, I dread to think what Monaco's going to be like. They're going to have to pick their moments very carefully here today.
Yeah, and for some people, there's no heroics in the Sandoval, as the saying would say. They got to pick their battles, they got to pick right. I may not go for the move here. It is hard to overtake anyway. It is trap position, I have to say, is very key. So I am keeping my eye on Ultra Killer, who's now a full-time driver in the F2 League. He's going to be starting on pole. I could expect big things from him. B-Roy as well. He's starting near the front. I could expect him to climb his way through if he can keep things clean. Duncan as well. Will, I have to say, everyone in the chat, Carl, was cheering for Will in the chat last week. He did bottle it a few times, but he gave us some entertainment. I think without that issue towards the end, I would have gave him driver of the day. Alex, he had his moment in the sprint, who almost got the win and was one of my favourite drives of the session last week as well, because he went from 0 to hero in just one race. But with him starting SIP, he could be in a good position too. Everyone's starting on the soft compounded tyres, which is probably the best tyre to be on. But I wonder how many front wings we're going to see repaired tonight in both races combined.
Put your predictions in the chat, ladies and gentlemen, because pull it out of a hat. I don't even know. Spin the wheel. Doesn't really matter. No clue whatsoever. I was going to say Ultra Killer actually bolted off on the formation. That created a huge gap between himself and the rest of the cars. Not going to endear his tyres to a lot of warmth. Let's put it that way. They're going to be cooling down. The more stationary time he is sat on the grid. That's a tongue twister. Try saying that 10 times fast. It's going to be a sprint sensation here in Monaco. Lights out and away we go, and some hesitation. B-Roy's not even moved. Huge hesitation for the high-tech car, but Ultra Killer's got the start of dreams. Can they get through turn 1 safely? That is the next question, firmly pursed on our lips. Oh no, they can't. There's been a huge spin. Chestnut's round this. There's an Aldi car park going on. Austin Powersing his way around. It's the Premier of Adam Sanderson. Huge yellow flag at the beginning of Sector 1, but it looks like they've all managed to get out of that. Oh no, in the wall! It's Dan Moran in the wall. There's a huge pile up into Mirapo. Complete chaos at the start of this race as I break the sound barrier, Jessica.
Yes, you do break the sound barrier, and Bert Mylander is napping once again because he feels like, nope, there was nothing that was going to happen. We're seeing side-by-side action through the Mirabo chicane, and they're drifting as predicted around there. This is what you wanted to see in the Creator Series this evening, and you'll definitely get it. We're seeing Zach RC and GB going side-by-side into the tunnel. It's going to be very hard to break it past the tunnel because you need so much more downforce. GB, by the way, brakes very late, but he makes the corner. So does Zach RC. Side-by-side in towards the back as well. He's going to try and go around the outside in towards a swimming pool section coming up as well. GB just about holds on. We've got Crites on the back of this as well, wanting to take advantage. By the way, Zach Ultra Killer is already leading the field away by 1.3 seconds. And we got some pitters, Kyle.
Sorry to interrupt there. Yes, Pitters, Duncan and Chesnoid into the pit lane already. There's your 2 customary front wings. Make that 3 as Adam Sanderson joins them in pit row. Up ahead, Ultra Killer, 1.5 seconds, almost the gap, but look who's behind him. The man who came so close in Baku, the sprint superstar almost last time out. F1 Alex is on the charge in his Invicta Virtuosi car. Will is in 3rd, ladies and gentlemen. Rejoice as F1 Scott and Hoodie Pete looking to make moves into the Lowe's hairpin, and they get through there safely. Hoodie Pete, lovely little piece of opportunism there. Meanwhile, also, can I just say, credit where credit's due, great racing between GB and I can't even remember who it was at the end of the day. My mind's gone completely blank. It's all complete chaos, but at the end of the day, thank you, Jessica. It was great racing between the 2 of them. More diving and dashing between F1 Scott and Hoodie Pete. F1 Alex closing in all the time. But I'm turning my attention to the battle for 10th place. Friesix and Formula Karim. It looks like a battle could be sprucing up. No, never mind. Formula Karim's not got a front wing. That puts pay to that opportunity. Although, well, considering he had 0 wings anyway, perhaps more up thrust was required.
Yeah, I think Karim is not having the race that he wants, and I think he's broken someone else's front wing as well, so that's not ideal. DRS is now enabled for all of these drivers. I'm trying to keep up with all this action, but there's so much going on. Karim is still staying out, by the way, with a damaged front wing, so fair play. He must be running minus front wing, and he's still going to give it everything. Someone's binned it in the background. I think that's Pondon that's binned it in towards Razkat. Karim is wall riding in towards Casino's legend. I have to say, he's definitely giving some entertainment right now as well. But we have to draw our attention to Hoodie P. Oh no, Hoodie P is at a moment.
That's front wing gone on the left-hand side. Look at that. Something must have happened between him and F1 Scott, or just a mistake. Either way, that is the crux of what can happen when 0 wings are applied at one of the most downforce-dependent tracks on the F1 calendar. So while he feels the pain and the pummeling of plummeting down the order, they shimmy out of the tunnel as he tries to defend from GB, who's all over his rear end, in fact trying to switch back him out of the Nobel chicane. That is mightily bold. All the while Formula Karim, despite having negative downforce on his car, is all over Kryzix behind, who will be spelling danger behind. At the front though, it's Ultra Killer and F1 Alex, only 2 attempts to separate them as GB gets past Hoodie Pete for 8th place. Under 2 attempts, briefly separating the front two. It's all to play for now.
It is all to play for, indeed, and the laps will go quickly like a drop of a hat, so they got to get a move on, and fair play to GB for keeping Hoodie Pete at bay and was able to go for the move. But your front two are definitely showing what they're made of here. You definitely want to be starting near the front here today, and that just goes to show that once you're qualifying later on, will be all so important. F1 Alex is going to try and go for a move into the tunnel. He thinks about it. He doesn't want to do so. He's being patient at the moment. But we got Karim and Kryzix going for the move in towards the hairpin. And he's trying to go up the inside with a damaged front wing. I don't know how he's doing it, Carl, but he's made the move stick.
No front wing, no problem at all for Karim the Dream. And now he's nestled up in the slipstream of Hoodie Pete. Pulls to the inside of the Novo chicane. Surely not without a front wing. He's completely overcooked it. Hoodie Pete's done so also in sympathy. That's a 10-second penalty. Slapped onto his account. Back down the inside goes Kryzix and Formula Karim into Tabak. Switch back out of Tabak though. Formula Karim, I'll tell you what, if nothing else, the overtaking is outstanding here in Monaco. Nothing to separate the front two though. F1 Alex thought he had got the job done for a brief moment. Unfortunately, that flash in the pan has gone away for the time being as they head into the Mirabeau. Oh, Watts is out. Watts is out. Oh, he must have made contact, and he has hit the inside wall out of the casino section. And then into Mirabeau we go with B-Roy. Past the corpse of Gwatz they go, and once again, Bernd Mailander, I can't believe it, is comatose.
I love that saying, Carl. Tonight, he's just not coming out at all. But I want you to put it in the chat how many safety cars we're going to get in the main race later on. B-Roy is definitely being very composed right now, but he knows that F1 Scott is great around Monaco, so he's looking for a chance to pounce in at the tunnel section very soon. There's quite a few patient drivers out there. You can tell who has put in the practice before this and who hasn't, because it takes a while to warm up to the idea of not having much downforce around this circuit. And you can see the top 5 are absolutely loving it. And then you got that big gap behind, but they're definitely giving us some entertainment. We've got the 2 newbies of Ricky and Big T-Matt fighting for position for 12th and 13th place. They're having a whale of a time out there in their first race in the Kit Creator Series. And think about it, it's their debuts. I don't think they were expecting a Monaco 0-0 ring race, as F1 Scott gets past B-Roy in towards Sandevort. Who cares if you're running no wings? He's got through and he's pulling away for B-Roy, so I think B-Roy must have made a mistake because he's dropped a little bit from F1 Scott.
Most of the drivers in this race have less downforce than a Boeing 747. It's absolutely unbelievable. You'd be hard-pressed to find anyone with a full front wing at the moment. In fact, the only two that we've really seen at the moment who have managed to keep their nose clean, where they have ensured patience is a virtue and keeping out of the walls is the best way forward, is the front two. Ultra Killer and F1 Alex, both with a full complement of downforce still on their wagon, and both still duking it out for position. The dynamic duel continues as they head through the swimming pool complex and towards the end of the lap, but all the time, F1 Alex is trying to dive this way and that way. Shades almost of Senna versus Mansell in 1992, where it just exacerbates the issue of how difficult it is to get past. Someone's gone straight on at Mirabar. I think it might have been Pondon again.
Yeah.
But up at the front, F1 Alex, as close as he might get to darting out from under the diffuser and going delightfully round the outside or down the inside. Whatever avenue he tries to open up, Ultra Killer has it all covered.
He does. He's defending for his life. He kind of reminds me of Daniel Ricciardo, who has much worn tyres, and he was able to defend for his life. Also, Ayrton Senna back in the day as well. Nigel Mansell, they've done very well around this track because they could defend. They can't really overtake as much, and we haven't seen that much races in his new generation of cars. It's absolutely fantastic, and they're giving us an absolute world of a time. I hoped the votes that you put in for this F2 race was worth it, because we're definitely getting some entertainment as Kareem has damaged more of his car, as Hoodie Pete has passed him as well. Kreitz is right in the background as well, so those three could catch up sooner or later. And how is Hoodie Pete and Formula Kareem still in the top 10 with a damaged front wing is beyond me.
It's unbelievable stuff, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, we interviewed Formula Kareem after last week, and he said, you know what, I'm going to give myself some challenges, make it a bit more fun. I don't know if no front wing was exactly the top of his list, but you know what, he's doing a good job despite that. And what a show he's putting on, trying to dart out from underneath the slipstream for 10th place, but it's still every single opportunity you get close, but not close enough. That is the Achilles heel of this Monte Carlo track. Through Rascasse they go, and basically pushing Hoodie B round the penultimate corner and onto the back straight. These two having a great time, all the while being reeled in by Matty D.
Ooh, one of the
and
VARs have gone
and
off.
Ricky.
One of the VARs have gone off. I think it was Duncan who had a bit of an off, but he's got no damage to his front wing, so he's all good. But F1 Alex, I think he's going to wait until the last few laps to really go for the potential move. But Will, I think, can catch up if either of those two don't budge as well. So that's going to be very, very intriguing as we get through the rest of this race. 2/10, it's a gap now. Alex could see an opening, but he doesn't want to end any of the races between the front two. And by the way, the two are so far ahead, they've already lapped one car.
That's Dan Moran behind them, who basically started right at the front of this race, now finds himself down in 18th. You can't possibly predict how big the plummet down the order can be at times, but he's experienced that to the full force. F1 Alex, though, trying to go for the move, round the outside, 0-0 wings. Very robust from Ultra Killer, though, shows him the wall and says, don't play chicken with me, sunshine. That'll do it. And he holds the lead of this race, F1 Alex as well, with a 3-second time penalty. So he's not only got to overtake, he's also got to build up that margin. I think he feels like he's got the pace to win this race. But he's also got to get the job done sooner rather than later. A whole host of 3-second penalties flying in on the top of our screens. It's unbelievable proceedings as we head into the tunnel with these front two. Meanwhile, back in the battle for 9th place, how is Formula Kareem making tight lead into the left-hander? So they're heading through the casino square. They tried their luck very, very robustly there. Down the inside goes the wingless Formula Kareem, and he does get through into the Mirabeau. Good grief, almost a round of Russian roulette between the two of them as they manage to exit the Lowe's hairpin, and no one somehow has DNF'd from that particular squabble.
This is absolutely insane. We got a train from the likes of Kareem, Pete, Matty D, Big T Matt, Ricky. All in this train. Ricky, by the way, has got no penalty, so I expect him to climb his way. As Kareem had another penalty from that, and that was another example of Formula Drift. for the AIX car, and he's still keeping it in a straight line. F1 Scott doing well. He's setting the fastest lap of the race. He's closing in on his teammate from Rodin, Will, and those two could score very huge in the constructors. We've got 5 laps to go very, very soon. We got a battle potential for the lead. F1 Alex to the inside, in towards the first part of the Mirabeau, and he's taken the lead of the sprint race of the 0-0 Wing Grand Prix.
Well, Alex making the move there into Mirabeau very nicely. Got the ascendancy out of the casino square. Shoved it down the inside, and it was absolutely wonderful to watch. Ultra Killer tried to get the switch back, but F1 Alex said, "Hello, sir. Meet my friend Armco." And Ultra Killer didn't want anything to do with him. So that puts pay to that battle. Now, F1 Alex's task is not a case of attack, attack, attack. It's a case of, well, actually much the same. That puts pay to that particular analogy that I had, but he's got to get out the road as quickly as possible. Not only because Ultra Killer can just hold it in that 3-second window and write his own fairy tale, but the likes of F1 Scott and Test Will dangerously close to usurping him in the standings as well, should F1 Scott get to the back of his teammate, that is. But at the moment, Test Will, if he keeps his pace up, scheduled for a podium. Another 3-second time penalty, excuse me, in the form of Hoodie Pete. That definitely puts the shade on the majority of his sprint race. I'm getting tongue-tied. Everything's happening. Kareem's left. That's terrible news for him. He just built up a healthy 1.5 second gap, and now he's going to plummet down the order. His AI car shoved him into the pit lane. It's a terrible time. Someone spun. B-Roy's had a moment. He's sideways. No Austin Powersing, though, this time, albeit with a shake and a shimmy, and extreme physical and emotional damage.
Yeah, I know what soundboard I would play if that was the case, but he's able to keep his car in a straight line, and his AI has pitted him. That's cruel. AI, what have you done? That would have been fun to see him like that, but hopefully he could join for the main race later on. He has just joined. He's probably gutted for him to drop away like that, but he's had a bit of fun, and I have to say Kareem definitely gave us some good entertainment to think about when we choose driver of the day later on. And we got Ricky gaining all the advantage right now on Mac right in behind him, and I think they got plenty of downforce on their cars compared to everyone else who's hardly got any front wing. Through the tunnel they go then for the fourth last time of this race, into the tunnel once again, and they keep it calm. The top 6 pretty much are running their own little race. They're just keeping it, well, relatively stable, and towards the end, I think their main enemy is going to be the wall, as we almost saw Ricky do just that. We got a yellow flag in Mirabeau. That was Duncan has had a moment again.
It is struggle stations here in Monaco, it must be said, and that's probably putting it nicely. Lap number 12 of this sprint race. We've not got long to go before the end of this particular contest, and F1 Alex, ladies and gentlemen, has managed to increase the gap to 3.7 seconds. Simply spellbinding pace from F1 Alex. All that he has to do now to tick off the sprint win at the jewel of the single-seater calendar is keep it out of the walls, run his own race. The psychological warfare, he's got, oh, Big Mac's out. No, on his first endeavour into Formula 2, Ricky's out as well. Dan has gone. They're dropping like flies towards the beginning of Mirabeau. 3 of them, the triple threat, have been absolutely trounced. And that spells the end of their sprint race, which means Formula Car, well, it was bad for him before, but at least he'll be up to P11 now. But devastation for those further down the order.
Wow, that was a pile-up there, I have to say. But all it takes is one mistake, and those two, and up until then, were not making much mistakes at all. So they're going to be pondering on what's going to happen for the feature race now. They got to finish the feature race in order to get some points, but I could tell they had a bit of fun there going on here, as I think we just saw one person dive into the pit lane. That was Duncan, a lap down. You can see GB68 with no front wing versus Crytix with a front wing. You're going to take no candy for a baby here and no answer to see who was going to go for the move there. It's definitely a good answer to say that Crichton was going to go for the move there, but GB's holding its own right now in towards Mirabeau. He's saying, no, I don't care I have a front wing. I'm going to try and make Crichton's life a lot harder indeed, and he's doing a brilliant job. 6th place, no penalties. He's going to gain quite a bit from this. I could definitely say GB is definitely enjoying himself.
I think all of the drivers are enjoying themselves to some degree if they're willing to weather the storm without a front wing. Damscar versus Kryzix in the ART. The track is his canvas with every turn of the wheel, with every brush stroke. He tries to create an even more beautiful scenario to delve into the surreal, but it's not materializing that way for the time being. Although with the amount of downforce he has in comparison, it should pay dividends. Meanwhile, there's been another yellow flag towards Tabak, and it looks like B-Roy's had a bit of a moment briefly, although he is back on his merry way, albeit with the ability to take flight. Back to the battle then. I'm going to look at P3 actually, because F1 Scott has caught up to his teammate. He has been chipping away at that margin, slowly but surely, and now he's snapping at his heels. Like a hungry shark, he sniffs an immense amount of blood in the water, and it's his teammate that could be gazumped as they head into the tunnel. Turn up the noise. The symphony of V6 sound. Oh, B-Roy's out of this race. Contact out of turn number 1 with the barrier, and that will do it. That is left, right, good night from the streets of Monte Carlo. F1 Scott gets through at the chicane. They start their test wheel just a little bit too overzealous into that corner, although F1 Scott, with a time penalty next to his name, might have something to do with it. But at the end of the day, he's made it past his Rodin teammate, and on he goes. The Rodin Carlin boys, 3 and 4, by the way, and look set to stay there. It's not exactly like they're going to ship a gap of 15 seconds to Arsenault, although stranger things have happened. Final lap of this sprint race, though. It's absolutely flown by, and, well, I'm watching the one man in the lead of this race that has had an incredible run of things, let's be honest. Got past, even with a 3-second time penalty, has demonstrated absolutely phenomenal pace. And that's what he's needed to win this race. F1 Alex, a commanding drive from him, Jessica.
Yeah, F1 Alex. He loves the sprint races, doesn't he? Around the street tracks. He did well in Baku, just missed out on the win on that one. And I could see him doing very well in the one-shot qualifying later on, depending on what the weather is going to be. He is loving life out there as well. It's not gonna doing well in future sprint races where he'll be starting near the back, but to be honest, with him starting near the front in Monaco, he can't really complain. Exits into the swim pool chicane. It's F1 Scott has got past Ultra Killer in towards the tunnel. They both hit the wall for good measure. He's up to P2 on the road. But the race is about to end, Carl. Take us through.
The final corner. The Sprint King. He's finally claimed his crown. Last week it was Formula Karim. F1 Alex is his fairy tale and wins the Monaco sprint race here in Formula 2. F1 Scott will cross the line in second on the track, but it's Ultra Killer, the MP Motorsport, who takes P2. The Rodin Carlin boys, 3rd and 4th on the road. Well done, Will, you didn't bottle it, lad. Arsenault, P5 on the road. GB and Kryzik's battle is yet to be settled.
Oh my goodness!
Go, trying to dive down the inside was Kryzix. He himself also doesn't have a front wing, but it will be GB crossing the line to take P6. Kryzix gave it absolutely everything, but even everything couldn't usurp GB in this case. Adam Sanderson changed his front wing at the beginning of the race. Ladies and gentlemen, he's finished P8. Unsung and underrated hero of the race. What an absolute legend. Hoodie Pete, P9. Formula Karim. His AI might have squandered his chances. He'll finish in P10. And breathe. Race number 1 down. In fact, he takes P9 on the road, so a little bit more consolation for Formula Karim. But what a sprint race it's been, Jessica. Goodness me. Still missed out on points on the road, but what a sprint race it's been.
What a sprint race, and I hope that's what you wanted. You voted for it in the poll, and I really enjoyed that, to be fair. It was a lot of fun. There was people having damaged front wings, and they were still going. You don't get that in an ordinary league race. Everyone wants to have a bit of fun. You would lose time if you pit, so why not just see if you can last with a damaged front wing? If it was like that in any other season, you'll be told to pit. But in this season, well, they're giving it everything. But F1 Alex has kicked off his weekend to a good start. 8 points to his name. And he's on fire at the moment. I wonder if he can keep his form up in one-shot quali. Scott doing well as well, despite his penalty. And Ultra Killer, in his full-time debut to the season, he gets a podium. What more could I say?
Wonderful celebrations. Royalty has turned up to listen to the revolutions of the F2 machinery. The king of the streets, F1 Alex, at least for the first account of today. The champagne is sprayed, or whatever beverage they're doing up there. I don't even think it's champagne anymore. 7-Up free, probably. Who even knows? Any clear beverage you can name. Congratulations to the podium, people. What a sprint race, what a spectacle they have given us. Scores on the doors and results are on the table. F1 Alex takes home the win of the sprint race. What a drive it was from him. Ultra Killer in P2, F1 Scott P3, Test Will takes home P4, Arsenault 5th, GB 6th, Kryzix in 7th, Adam Sanderson for Prema finishes in 8th. Formula Kareem, all things considered, he can be relatively consoled by P9, Hoodie Pete 10th, the rest of the results being Zach RC, Pond and Chesnoid, Matty D, Duncan, B-Roy, Ricky, T-Mac, Moran, the Dan, and Gwatz, who had an unfortunate end at the casino square. Well, sprint has been completed, and F1 Alex, well, what a drive it was from him. We said fortune would favour the person who kept it out of the barriers and made the most of the opportunities where it counted. And no one could epitomise that more than what F1 Alex did out there today.
But I have to say, the moves that he made to get the lead, he kept it very calm. He was very patient. He didn't want to go for the move straight away. He knows that he can do well on his tyres. And I was going to point out, actually, towards the end, you could see people making the mistakes due to the fact that it was 0-0 wings and it was hard on the tyre wear. So Alex was able to just get the move done when he needed to, manage the tyres and just be patient. And I think patience is a virtue around this Monaco circuit. And we've seen battles all throughout the field, which shows pure skill around this circuit. And they've done a brilliant job. And I can't wait to see what the feature race is on offer. I wonder if we're going to get a sprinkle of rain, as predicted. Or did they tease us once again? We obviously have to wait and see on that one. But Alex, absolute star today. But I have to say, GB68, another star as well. He managed to drive without a front wing. Same with Kareem, despite that AI issue. But yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Astonishing work from F1 Alex. Ultra Killer as well, we must say, put in a very good shift out there. Defended extremely well for the majority of that sprint race. At the end of the day, just that last little bit of consistency and pace holding him back slightly from taking that sprint race win. But even so, commendable drive from him as well.
Yes, indeed. But I do believe, Carl, we do have an interview from one of our podium sitters, and I'll let you take it away. It is the man that finished in the top 3, F1 Scott, and I'll bring him in for you, Carl.
Lovely stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, your P3 man in what was a very sweaty sprint race. I can hardly keep up. But the man who managed to take home P3, F1 Scott's with us. F1 Scott, congratulations on the P3, my friend.
Hello, how are you? Thank you very much.
No, you're very welcome. I'm doing thank you. Talk us through that sprint race for you. What was the experience like for you with the 0-0 wings?
That was amazing. It's actually a little bit easier as long as you just brake early. I actually find it quite fun. And I got lucky. I think Sanderson took out people like always, so I kind of got away from that. And that was it. It was quite good. How was it from your end?
Oh, it was amazing, I have to say. The community voted for the right combination, I have to say as well. Did you ever think that there could have been another wild card today, or was 0-0 wings always on the card for you? Did you do a bit of practice beforehand?
Yeah, I'd hope that the sort of viewers would make the right decision. So I practiced this a little, like half an hour, like last night a bit. Because I was like, it's obviously going to be Monaco 00 Wings. I had faith in the community, and they came through, and they gave us something that's actually quite exciting. It's very interesting. What we found out in the race is, you would think there's no difference between 00 Wing and no front wing, but there is actually a bit of a difference, which is why you saw people pit.
Very interesting, very interesting. So we've got, obviously, qualifying. We've got the feature race just round the corner. P3 in the sprint race. How much confidence does that give you, just to be able to carry that momentum forwards into the main event?
Yeah, I'm hopeful. I have always came second place whenever I'm doing a good race. I've never actually came first, so I'm going for this. This is my one. I got this.
Yes.
F1 Scott going for glory, ladies and gentlemen. Scott, thank you so much for joining us, and best of luck for the feature race ahead.
Don't laugh too much when I crash out in qualifying and the race, okay?
We never laugh in this commentary box. This is a very serious broadcast.
Right, love it.
Love it. Take care, Scott. Thank you, man. Brilliant. What a legend F1 Scott is, ladies and gentlemen. And he summed it up best, really. People making their own mess, essentially, causing the carnage. Ultimately, that paved the way through. A little bit of luck sprinkled in there, but ultimately, keeping yourself out of trouble. That will be the narrative that we're going to experience in this feature race.
And I think what helped was Scott knew that potentially this was going to be the case, that the combinations were going to be as it is. I'm sure there was a lot of creators that were rallying in the troops to vote for this combination. So I think he was the one that got used to the less downforce on the car, where some people thought it was going to be like sim damage or something like that. So it did help that if you knew there was going to be one track combination and one wildcard combination that you knew was going to come up, that they could have practiced a bit more. Whereas the F1 tomorrow, I have no idea what track is going to be or the combo for the wildcard. So they're probably not going to have as much time to practice for that. But for the F2, some people would have already practiced for that already. And I have to say, I know Scott, he always liked this track. I always seen him do Monaco whenever he does his streams. So, and as Scott's saying, the troops rallied him to do this track, and he did well.
Well, acclimatised to it. He's got it all to do in the feature race, but you know what? Predictions, everybody. Who do you think's going to win this feature race? We didn't even do a prediction for the sprint race. I do apologise. But qualifying first, Jessica, who do you think is going to take that pole position at the Principality?
Well, it's quite a tough one, because obviously with the 00 Wings, we don't know the true pace out of anybody. But with the way that F1 Alex was able to increase the gap early on to Ultra Killer when he got past him, I have to go with F1 Alex for pole position. For the win, it's a tough one. It is a really tough one. I'm gonna go for a bold one. I think maybe Ultra Killer for the race victory, but again, it depends on how he does in qualifying. What about you?
Oof. Do you know what? F1 Alex is going to be my answer in qualifying. I think the sprint race gave us a good indication of who had acclimatised to the 00 Wings and to the conditions better than a lot of other people. We saw that with F1 Alex. We saw that with F1 Scott. And I feel like that should pay dividends come that qualifying session. I think it's between those two. I too am going to say F1 Alex. That was my first name that came into my head. I think confidence will be certainly on his side, and it's the snowball effect. He's won the sprint race. He came out of it with no damage. That snowball is going to be huge, and he's made that climb. Crucially, he just has to stay there now. Main event is a bit of a curveball again, because really predictions out the window. F1 Alex really just has to drive and stay in the middle of the track, and in theory he can get that race win, but it's never that simple in the creator series at F2, ladies and gentlemen. So who do I think is going to win? Metaphorical drum roll, please. F1 Scott. I actually think he's going to do it. I think he showed...
You think F1 Scott's going to win? Well, if he doesn't win, it'll be your fault.
Scott, I am so sorry in advance. And in the case that he wins, Scott, I'll send you the invoice. We have a few fleeting moments until we get underway with one-shot qualifying around the streets of Monaco. And realistically, in a lot of scenarios, but especially in the case of Monaco, hardly any track comes close in terms of the importance of a good grid position.
Yeah, exactly. And we've seen in Monaco in the past, people, majority of the time, if they start on pole, in real life, they win the race. But in F2 and 0-0 wings, we've seen even in the sprint race, anything can happen. But we've seen the ones near the front managing to capitalise on other people's mistakes and pull away. But I think there was a few that didn't get off the line, like Beaveroy, for example. I think that was one exception. But for everyone else that started near the front, they were able to get away and managing to pull away. So if you're not in a good position in qualifying, that's going to hurt you. And there's one thing that's also going to hurt the drivers. We've been throwing a huge curveball. Ladies and gentlemen, the rain has arrived in Monaco and it is night time.
Well, you know what, actually? The rain might be a blessing for some of them. Given that it is 0-0 wings, their car might actually feel more like a kayak. Which, given the conditions, will actually help propel them along a bit more. Qualifying at the Principality, one shot around the streets of Monte Carlo. Jessica, over to you for a lap of Monaco.
Let's go on board with one of our drivers. I don't know who, I forgot who I was on board with. Let's go on board with Kreitzit, the driver that's on pole position at the moment, as he makes his way towards Casino Square. Really, really tight on entry, especially with 0-0 wings. You need all the downforce that you possibly can in towards Mirabeau. But obviously with 0-0 wings, it's going to be very, very tricky. And he's not doing too bad, actually. It's Kreitzit. F1 Scott, Carl's prediction is on pole position at the moment. Grott's doing well as well. The timings keep switching for who's going to get pole. But Kreitzit's heading towards the tunnel section now. He's doing not too bad, to be honest. He's doing pretty decent. And it's very dry in the tunnel, which is not going to be good in his wet conditions at all. Heading towards the Tabat section coming up now. That's going to be, I think, a very tricky moment around this circuit. And through in towards this next bit of the chicane. Oh, he's drifting. It's his Formula drift through the curb in towards the swimming pool chicane. I can't tell if he's invalidated or not. Absolutely not invalidated, but he's drifting like a madman. He was first and he dropped down into P6 right now. And heading towards the final corner. Here he goes. As Ricky on pole position at the moment, but is he going to change? Answer to that is yes. 1:32.9 for Ricky, and Grott's in second, Alex in third, Christ in sixth. Ricky, one of our debutants in P1, and I've just been told there is a lobby restart because someone was a very naughty boy and forgot to put 0-0 wings.
Oh dear. Well, Ricky, as much as I commend your effort for being the only person to breach the barrier of the 133s, it means nothing, and I'm so sorry for that. It would have been Ricky and then Gwatson and F1 Alex as your top three, so that spares mine and Jess's prediction blushes a little bit because there is a lobby restart. However, it does mean we have to sit and wait and make sure that people apply their 0-0 wings, basically apply their up thrust. But it's wet conditions, it will give them buoyancy, so I don't really see the complaint. There you go, though. Qualifying will be soon back underway again in a few moments' time. Let's talk, well, strategy, if there even is any. It's less about pit strategy at the end of the day in this, especially if it's the wet conditions, but more about their strategy in terms of their driving, in terms of where to put their car, what are the right places to place their car in to make it as difficult as possible for anyone to capitalise. Maybe slow and steady will win this race today, but within limits.
I think we're just checking if we've got a lobby restart. I thought we are, but I am just checking from the coordinator to see if we are getting a restart. But it'll be unfair to let B-Roy not do this race. We might have to restart again. I don't know. So we got to check. But one thing the drivers have got to contend with, they got to do the stop. I don't know. Do they still have to do a stop in the full wets in F2? I don't even know. But we're about to get underway. I'm not sure if we're having a restart or not. But here is the formation.
That looks
anyway.
like a restart. It looks like a restart. I've seen several people career into each other. And ladies and gentlemen, it's one of my favourite moments of the Creator Series broadcast. It's okay when things go wrong, we have to do a lobby restart because we get all the creative ways that the drivers crop each other out of the race. So we have Ricky going round to do a formation lap briefly. He's wiggling the wheel. He feels like he's on cloud 9, top of the Monaco mountain. Do you know what? Given that qualifying performance, I'd say he is, like I say, the only driver to breach the 1:33 barrier. And with that, once again, that confidence ascendancy in the psychological warfare, he is the one with ample ammunition to take things forwards. But he will have to go and do it again.
Oh, look at Alex. Alex is going. This is what you don't get to see, by the way, in between broadcasts, because usually this never happens. But this is what you get to see. Surely Ricky and Dan have been told surely to pretty much go backwards, because this is going on for a long time, but we are getting a lobby restart. And by the way, one thing I forgot to say is if we go to our lovely faces again, you can see us again. If anyone's not running 00 wings, can you please bully them in the chat? And if anyone forgot to do that during this interlude, again, pester them in the chat, ask why, because this is not going through the spirits. This is what you all voted for. You deserve to have this 00 win goodness, and there was just someone who just decided, nah, I'm gonna go with 50. Oh, it might just be an autopilot, to be fair.
It might have done. We've probably all done it at some point. Accidentally pressed the button too quick, and then we'll end up. Well, hopefully it wasn't Ricky, because I hope it was 00 wings for his sake and not anything else. We've only got one person on our screen, which you can't see currently, who's coming to actually complete the formation lap. That being Dan Moran. At least he gives us a little food for conversation, and we will happily chomp on it, ladies and gentlemen. So, races ahead. I've got one eye on the screen as well, just to see, as a million drivers have jumped the start. This is all the fun you don't get to see at times.
You're not seeing it at the moment. You're not seeing it
at the moment, but sorry.
It's
all the creative.
This is one of the best bits, because I was an F2 driver for the last 2 or 3 seasons. And the demolition derbies are usually the best bit, because you get to see people's creative moves on trying to cause crashes, especially with 00 wings. It's an absolute nightmare. And usually we come up with funny tactics, like if you are the last to retire, you would get a race ban, but everyone would joke about it. It was just crazy. And I always try and come up with a creative way for a time. But on the first race I ever did in the F2s around China, on the first ever season, I tried retiring, and the game just wouldn't damage me. I had to retire myself, which was quite weird. But that is behind the scenes, ladies and gentlemen, that you don't get to see unless you watch a creator. So hopefully we can get underway shortly. But that does mean a chance for everyone to reset, a chance for everyone to get in the right gigs. We've seen quite a few people had some offs in the one-shot qualifying session. They know what the weather's going to be like now for the main race. Oh my god, as we're seeing quite a few people bidding it in the Mirbeau section. I'm surprised no one else done it, to be fair. And Dan, if you can please retire, that will be lovely, as we're keen to get this race started. Thank you very much. But yeah, the demolition derbies were always great fun.
Dan Moran exposed, ladies and gentlemen. He's still pottering around in his Invicta Virtuosi car. My apologies. All that's been given, despite the fact 19 cars retired from that, is only a virtual safety car. But Mylander, we haven't checked on him. Hopefully he's all right. Hopefully everything's all right at home, but we'll find out soon. Anyway,
it was a safety car, by the way, in this demolition derby.
It was a safety car. Well, there you go.
Can see
Finally,
the
Dan Moran goes.
There we go. He got our message.
Good man. Well, we're here to talk about the lottery that is Monaco, where Lady Luck has to be on your side. And you know what? Just like Baku in the previous week, don't count out a rogue podium sitter here today, given the weather, given the 00 wings, given the chaos that was brought up to the forefront during the sprint race. Don't count out anyone like a Chesnoid Gaming or someone like that to get that podium. This again is an ample opportunity, a prime position to put themselves in to get themselves onto the rostrum.
Yeah, and weird people may not be doing as good laps to start with. I do have to agree with you. The wet rain and the 00 wings gives a chance to possibly reset the grid, shake up the order. If you keep it clean with no penalties, you should be able to pick up a really good finish. And don't forget, in this F2 series, the top 15 in the feature race get points, and that could mean anything in this championship. We had F2 championships in Creative Series before, decided by of just a few points. Same with the playoffs as well when we did the playoffs. So they got to get a move on, because otherwise they could be in a whole lot of pain towards the end of the season when they may not be in a position to potentially do well. But wet weather, 0-0 wings, everything is to play for as well. And we do know the drivers, I think they're going to be in a world of pain, but they're going to have a lot of fun.
Exactly. Fueling the fun, that's what we do here at the F2 Creator Series. And no particular event will epitomise that more than this one, I imagine. Although Baku was pretty good as well, if we're being honest. I'm just going to shill that every now and then. We're getting back on the way straight away. There's no settings to change. It's just making sure that people put on their setups correctly. We are watching in the F2 commentary box. I'm also aware there are some alarm bells behind me. That was the alarm bells, someone not putting their setups correctly.
I've got eyes at the back of my head as well, Carl. So... If someone could point out, if everyone could keep an eye on anyone that's streaming, for anyone that's not putting on 0-0 wings, because we don't want we don't want a lobby restart. By the way, the rule is with wildcards, because we get a wildcard every single week, excluding obviously last week in Baku. If anyone fails to do the wild card, they will get an immediate disqualification if we can't control it. There are some wild cards that can be controlled, like fixed setups in round 1 in Singapore. That was fun, by the way, to watch whilst I was in my hotel a couple of weeks ago. But with wild cards like this, 0-0 wings, failure for people to apply that setup, they will get disqualification and they won't score any points in the main race. But everyone, I believe, has been told to ready up, so we're about to get going. One-shot qualifying once again. The lap I covered wasn't very great anyway, because I was distracted on someone getting disqualified, but there we go, things happen. But I still think, I'm going to go for F1 Alex still, because I know there's a few drivers that make mistakes in their laps. I think F1 Alex has got a point to prove, but F1 Scott almost got pole in the session we just did, so we can't count him out.
Oh, exactly. I'm going to keep my money on F1 Alex as well. I think he got close, but no cigar on that particular occasion. However, in Monaco, they only have the expensive things on offer. And hopefully, the grand prize is F1 Alex's to claim. He wants that pole position. He's already got a sprint win under his belt. There's no reason why he can't go for more tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back in the streets of Monte Carlo just now, and it is tremendously torrential. I cannot believe it. MSC Cruises, you're probably better off with MSC Cruises on a track like this. But qualifying once again, ladies and gentlemen, they still have to have that mental reset, like you say, which for some people is a good thing, Jessica. Some people it's a really good thing. If they've made those mistakes, they can put that all behind them and only focus on forwards. However, for people that got those higher positions, they just have the pressure pile on them potentially that little bit more, because they have to replicate that peak of performance that they showed in the previous session.
They got to. I think those are going to be the ones who are the highest pressure, because they got pole in the previous session, Ricky being one of them. And all of a sudden, people are hoping that this new guy could go on to pole position. I'm trying to go on board with him now, but it's just so hard with people just moving all over the show right now. I'll just go on board with a random driver. Why not? As we've got Matty D making his way in towards Casino section, currently sitting in 13th place. We may as well go on board with different drivers each time. It's F2 for goodness sake. As he just about avoids the wall. He's keeping it really tentative on the throttle as they make their way towards Mirabeau. Really tight on entry. You got to be as tight as you possibly can. Full lock, I would say, through this tight part of the lap. He seems to be doing very well so far, but down in 40th place. We've got some different order shaking up in this grid for the one-shot qualifying, which shows that quite a few people have made mistakes. Matty D down through the tunnel, quite dry through the tunnel, and now very wet once again as they go out of the tunnel in towards Tabatsoon. Just about slows the car, but that curb could be very, very deadly. Then heading towards the really tight entry of the walls, which could come back to bite you. Swimming pool chicane, one of my favourite corners in Formula 2 around Monaco, and in Formula 1, of course, as well. In towards Raskas for the final time of asking in this lap. The order keeps changing on who's going to get pole position, so we don't know. It could be anyone as they all go up to the line Who's going to get it? It's going to be Alex. It's going to be what? It's going to be Alex by 0.2 of a second.
Fantastic from F1, Alex. The amazing Alex is at it again. 1.5 tenths the gap between himself and Gwot. Prediction number 1 of mine and Jessica's list is ticked off in a heartbeat. Arsenault as well in P3, F1 Scott in P4. Ricky got the pole last time, actually stayed pretty close to the time he did previously. But in this session, where other drivers picked themselves up and pushed their foot to the floor even more so, it was only good enough for P5 this time. And that shows what a psychological reset can do for some drivers. Your grid for this race then, ladies and gentlemen. Invicta Virtuosi has F1 Alex at the helm, steering the ship on pole position. Gwot's in P2, Arsenault in P3. The help next to Gwot's name, rather appropriate, by the way. F1 Scott 4th, Ricky in 5th, Testwell in 6th, Adam Sanderson 7th, Fryzix in 8th, Matty D 9th. Hoodie Pete rounds out the top 10. The rest of the order is below. You can see it on your screen now. Because, ladies and gentlemen, we fade into darkness for a brief fleeting moment. And then the days are very quick in the world of F1 24. Because very soon, it will be time to wake up. Because it is race day. And can I just say, look at how nice Monaco at night looks. They have not disappointed on the aesthetics front tonight.
I love Monaco in the night. I always do. And I have to say, the F1 games always make the F1 race at night time look absolutely fantastic. And we know it's going to be an absolute spectacle in the night time. They should make more races in the night. Can you imagine some other tracks in the night, like Canada, for example? I don't think it's going to work because they're not going to have many floodlights in the night time, because the amount of floodlights they have to have for a broadcasting perspective is quite a lot. So I don't think Canada could get away with that potentially. But they had their mental reset again. It is now time for the main race. They're going to have to pit one time, and they can't pit before lap 4. As long as they pit after that, they should be absolutely fine. And they're all making their way through the formation lap. We'll go through your order from the top 5. Alex will be starting on pole. It's like what we saw last week with Kareem. He was in exactly the same position, and guess what? He got the sprint and the feature race win. He had that mental reset for Alex, and he's, of course, about to get going as the cars are slippery making their way past Casino section. And I think one thing I need to draw my attention to is Gwat. Gwat, unfortunately, had a moment in the sprint race earlier on, did not make his way through further in the race, and I predicted him to do well in the sprint race. What can he do here to redeem himself, Carl?
Well, honestly, before that point where he did, unfortunately, capitulate in Monte Carlo, he actually was showcasing some great pace, had the fastest lap of the race at that point before he eventually, like I say, a catastrophe happened. But he's got a good chance of redemption here. Only one car in front of himself and a clear track. And crucially, and as Will Buxton would say, if you start in second, there's only one car ahead of you. The other 17 cars, 18 cars, they're right behind you. So that's good fun for him. But there is that spray element as well. Not that it makes a huge amount of difference in video game form, but there is that spray that will interfere a tiny bit. You just have to have your wits about you here. Not only is your handling and aerodynamics impaired, particularly in the case of this week, but also visually, you are impaired slightly. You have to make the moves where it counts. But you've got to have the confidence that when you emerge from under the spray, that it is clear daylight.
I've just been told by the lovely Hader Gullis in the chat, it's not going to be wet for long. It's going to start off wet, then it's going to be dry, and then it's going to be wet again. So it's about when is it going to be enough for dry for them to pit, or will it be wet the entire time? That's the added element of dynamic weather to proceedings. They'll start with, of course, the weather you would expect in real life at this time, but then the dynamic weather might throw another driver because they may be expecting a different weather combo. So the dynamic weather has thrown a dry and wet in the mix, which is going to be very, very exciting, as we got some very weird angles on the grid already, as someone in the back trying to make his way to his grid slot. I believe that is one, I think it might have been B-Roy. Actually, no, it wasn't B-Roy, it was Ultra Killer. But we are about to get underway for the 5 red lights. Over to you.
Lights out and away we go in marvellous Monte Carlo. And look at the start from F1 Alex. He's rocketed away from the starting blocks. Tyres biting to the bitumen beautifully. And through turn 1 he goes. Arsenault was looking and nipping at the heels of Gwatz down the inside. Can they get through turn 1 safely? The answer is absolutely not. There's a purple car around. It means Matty D's had a huge issue. There's a massive car park and collection of cars, and a virtual safety car has already descended upon the streets of Monaco. GB is out of this race before you can even bat an eyelid. Devastation for the Dams driver.
And I was predicting he was going to do well in this race, GB. I'm sorry, your chat can blame me if you wanted to. Roast me if you want to. I don't know. But there was, I think, about 5 or 6 cars caught up in that, just like we saw in the sprint race earlier on. And the rain just makes it 10 times harder. And it's absolutely ridiculous. To be honest, I'm surprised it wasn't even a safety car. But my lander, he's asleep once again. The race director's thinking, nah, it's a VSC, it's not that big of a pile-up. Oh, yes, please. I think it was a big pile-up. Just make up your mind, for goodness sake. As we're seeing, 2 people got drive-throughs. I believe that was Gwatz and Arsenault for speeding under VSC, which is not ideal. That gives Alex a really huge buffer, and F1 Scott is going to take huge advantage. He's already on the cusp of getting a podium. Ricky in there as well. This is going to be some entertaining action. But for the ones near the back, all they got to think about is pitting for a new front wing.
Yeah, back on the racing action here in Monaco. Gwatz and Arsenault, they just capitalised, or tried to capitalise, a bit too much under that virtual safety car restart, and it has cost them really dearly. F1 Alex, though, crosses the line to start lap number 2. Gwatz trying to be hot on his heels, but at the moment, a 1.3 second gap separates the front 2. F1 Scott. Hot pursuit of Gwatz, though, in P3, Ricky in P4, Kryzik's in P5. The rest of the order you can see on your left. However, Testwill looks to be a man potentially on the move. Make that Formula Karim for 2 seconds. The outside, and the left-hander possibly had a bit of a biff with the barrier for good measure. But round the outside of Pondon, the AIX ace went. And you know what? Formula Karim, the dream. He's on cloud 9 after that one. That was a lovely move from the AIX man.
I just missed almost the beginning of that, which was a shame, but it looked absolutely clean for Formula Karim. He's making his way up like a machine out there in that AIX car. He didn't do as well in the sprint race because of the AI curse, but now he wants to redeem himself and make his way up through loads of cars, but it's going to be so hard to overtake due to the gap. 3.6 seconds is the gap as they make their way past the tunnel now, and he just about gets the car stopped in time. We got cars fighting tooth and nail in these conditions. They hope it's going to dry later on. They know what the conditions are because they've been told by Mark. They're going to be keeping asking for weather report, because they don't know what's going to happen. F1 Alex, by the way, 2.4 seconds as Gwatz goes into the pit lane to serve his drive-through. That pushes F1 Scott to P2 of this race, but Ricky is right on his tail in towards Sandoval through turn number 1. No harm done for Ricky. He just stays behind. Hoodie P, by the way, he's doing a great job in 7th position. Let's see who's gained the most position, shall we, of this restart. Formula Karim gained the most, up 6 places, as well as Duncan. Dan Moran has had a good restart as well. He has taken advantage as well. Much better race than what we saw in the sprint. He must be loving those wet conditions. Gwatz probably the biggest loser, as well as Arsenault, due to their drive-through penalties, but Karim looks like he could get another position anytime soon. Alex increasing the gap. He is on fire. Everyone else is on fire because it looks like they're having just a little bit of a hard time in these treacherous conditions. Oh, Shakella, by the way, down the inside of Zach into P14, just in the points. He's loving life.
Excellent racing to start off this wet weather spectacle here in Monte Carlo. Man at the front, F1 Alex, with that slight touch more nautical nuance. A huge slide for Zach RC. That'll ship a position over to Matty D. And he says thank you very much. By the time they exit the tunnel into the floodlights of the streets of Monte Carlo, he's through into P15. Meanwhile, big battles happening. There's a little bit of a train forming behind Testwill for 5th place. You can see that just beginning to emerge, the Rodin Carlin man, with the Prema of Adam Sanderson on his case, and actually using that alternative line, staying out wide and cutting in later, is right underneath his diffuser, and is trying to use that slipstream, but the traction all the time. You are torturing the tyres, and with those 0-0 wings, that's only going to exacerbate the issue even further.
Wow. I mean, the train is going to grow and grow and grow, and they're going to need to be within a second of each other if the DRS ever gets enabled, as Kareem is going to try and do exactly the same move than what we saw earlier, but he's going to wait ever so late, down the inside maybe? No, but he can get the car stopped in time, so he's staying behind. Fair enough, he doesn't want to cause any pile-ups at all, so he's playing it safe at this point, because we know that those tyres are going to overheat with the rears, especially with 0-0 wings being at their disposal at the moment. Adam Sanderson is now out of that train, but he's gained a bit more time right now, 7/10 of a second, so he must be a little bit better down the straights compared to the corners, of course, because of the lower downforce. Hoodie Pete, 4/10 of a second now to Adam Sanderson. Kareem's got his first penalty. He's not loving life now anymore, and he's trying to attack Hoodie Pete, and it's not going very well so far. But he's not giving up. He's already down. He's already gained the most positions out of anyone. And Hoodie Pete's like, nope, I'm not going to let you gain this position. 7th position is mine. It's one of his best results so far. He must be loving this wet conditions. I'm very impressed. Kareem going to try and go for send. Oh, no, he's not. He's not going to go for the send. This is the best action we're seeing at the moment. It's through this midfield.
Switchbacks all the time. It's switchback station for Formula Kareem, who was keeping it clean and pristine, unfortunately, with a 3-second time penalty next to his name. That is not ideal whatsoever. Hoodie Pete trying to get past Adam Sanderson. Almost showed him the barrier there for a second, but through goes the MP Motorsport man. Adam Sanderson goes wide. Formula Kareem sniffing out an opportunity. He's locked onto his prey. His reticule is firmly on him. And down the inside at Mirabeau goes Formula Kareem. Bit of a buzz for good measure. Great racing between these two. Adam Sanderson using the superior momentum round the outside to keep P7 in his favour. And Formula Kareem actually managing to dislodge Adam Sanderson a little bit off of Hoodie Pete. The slipstream will still have a little bit of an effect. And the less of that Adam Sanderson gets, the more it's going to play into this AIX man's hands. Further down the order, massive train behind Pondon. Formula Kareem again looking to the inside at the Nouvelle chicane. Dan Moran's on the move, excuse me. Through the tunnel he goes on the VAR car of Duncan. Into P9 he goes. I don't think he has a full front wing on his car. Again, I'll be honest, you might be hard-pressed to find the full front wing in this race. The battle, though, between Sanderson and Formula Kareem continues. Sanderson's on top for the moment, but Formula Kareem is going to barge that door down very soon.
He is going to have to at this point, and you can probably notice in these conditions right now, it is not as heavy as the start of the race. It is raining less hard as we're seeing Formula Kareem down the left, up the left-hand side, in towards Sandevort. He took Kenny for a baby, slide for both of them, but Kareem doesn't care. He's up 7 places now, and he's up into the top 7. Absolutely incredible. Bearing in mind, he does have that penalty. His next victim is Hoodie Pete in 6th position. He's going to do all he can to make some moves right now from him. The train is going to grow bigger and bigger at this rate. The question is, when is it going to dry up? If at all in this race, as we had a moment again from Guat as he's under pressure from the likes of Arsenault, Ultra Killer, B-Roy. Look at that train from 12th place and 11th place as Arsenault had a bit of a moment, as Chesnoy Gaming has up into 16th place. He's now getting position. Oh, that was very tight towards Mirabeau. Oh my goodness, as there was sliding going on there. There's the more Formula drifts happening. And one shout out I have to say that I forgot to mention, B-Roy up 8 places in this race. Ultra Killer up 6. They're having a well of a time in these conditions, but to be fair, it is getting less treacherous for them to deal with. So they're doing an awesome job in the top 12, and they're going to score some really crucial points if they could keep this up. And I think B-Boy's just getting used to the conditions. Yellow flag, that's Arsenault that's out the race. Oh, that's a pile-up. That is a pile-up. And that was Chesnoy and BT Matt that got in the action as well that does mean we got a virtual safety car. Will it turn into a full course yellow? No, not at the moment.
Highlander, are you blind?
Yeah.
You're actually blind, lad. What's happening? Completely comatose. Put that on his LinkedIn profile. I can't believe what I'm seeing, ladies and gentlemen. It's another virtual safety car, though. And at that point, I was about to, if it was a safety car, the whole conversation would have immediately switched stance to do they dare to make the bold call to go onto the slick tyres. It's raining really lightly now. Not much time to go before it surely dissipates and then the track begins to dry out and then they've got to make that crucial decision. But we don't have to have that conversation yet. It's interesting, actually, at the moment, watching every driver on their onboard, especially into those heavy braking zones at turn 1, at the Novell chicane.
Yes.
You're seeing them make millimetric movements, the micro corrections they have to make in order to keep the car in a straight line. It's a testament to car control, this race.
It is. To be fair, I think everyone who's out there on track is doing a tremendous job of keeping their cars on the road. If it was me out there on circuit, I would have binned it in the wall many times and I would have been out of the race. So these guys are giving us some great content for us. And by the way, this VSC is going on for so long. Oh, there we go. Green flag. Oh no, Hoodie P's got a drive-through penalty. That's not helped his race one bit. And he was doing so well, up in 6th place. And he's going to drop way down the order though. Luckily, no one else has been affected by that VSC malarkey. And it still remains our top 3. F1 Alex, F1 Scott, and Ricky the debutant in 3rd place. Crichton's in 4th, Will in 5th. Hoodie Pete is going to serve his drive-through penalty straight away, which is fair enough. B-Roy and Pondon are having a nice fight for 11th spot. It is the car that was driven by Paul Aaron versus the car that was driven by Isaac Agile or Maria Marty. I can't remember the two of them. Through towards Wackcast, in towards Anthony Nose. Pondon is trying to defend for his life. We've got Ultra Killer in this as well. 3 wide potentially towards turn number 1. One of them has got to back out eventually. Here comes B-Roy defending for all his life. He's past Pondon. He couldn't, he made sure Ultra Killer couldn't do anything about it. And B-Roy stays in 11th place, up 9 places now is B-Roy. What a better race from him so far. And Guat's in this train as well. Sakar C is in this train as well, even though he's got a bit of damage to his car, I think. There's just such a lot of action happening right now. And also Kareem is chasing down Will for 5th.
Great racing between B-Roy and Pondon. Applause where applause is due. That was absolutely wonderful stuff. Side by side through Raskas and through the final corner to boot. Wonderful showings from them. Whilst all of that was happening, I mean, my heart breaks for Hoodie Pete, bless him. Not only did he have to serve his drive-through, he also got front wing damage, I think, from all of that. Definitely, well, if it's not him, I don't know who it is. It actually looks like he's still got a full front wing. Former Kareem doesn't know, but he's right underneath Test Will's diffuser, so I doubt that's hindering him that much. And surely, as the rain continues to get lighter and lighter, Kareem's pace continues to grow stronger and stronger. He's right underneath the Rodin Carlin car, locking up into turn number 1. The tyres squealing out for resuscitation all the time as they ascend up the hill. Kareem wanting to ascend up the leaderboard. Testwell saying, no, sir, but he goes wide and down the inside. Goes Formula Kareem. The dream hasn't died yet. From near last on, well, it's near last, I say, it's 14th. It's close enough, though. Up 9 positions so far this race. Into the top 5 goes Formula Kareem.
That was so collected. It was unreal. He dived it through that part of the track and he made it look effortless. It was amazing. He's up now 9 places and he's on a roll. Shame about his penalty, though, but that's not going to affect him too much. He's already increasing the gap to Will by quite some margin. Is he able to catch to the front 4 very soon? Well, I don't know. We have had some warnings from Mark, the race engineer, for all our drivers that it is starting to dry out. Apparently, it's going to be ending the rain in 5 minutes' time. But even though the rain's ending in 5 minutes' time, will it be enough for slicks? Well, we don't know. It takes a while to dry up on this game as we've got B-Roy right in the thick of things on the back of Duncan. I have to say, in these wet conditions, B-Roy just has the pace. He loves it. I mean, Oh, he just hits the wall there for good measure. Never mind. But again, he's still doing a great job drifting that car through the swimming pool chicane. So is Duncan as well. We got more time penalties galore here today around Monaco, but that's to be expected around this really tight track and with 0-0 wings, of course. Through towards Anthony Nose. B-Roy's going to try and gain the straight line speed of Dreams here, making their way towards turn number 1. I don't think they're going to make head or tail of it at the moment. Nope, they're staying behind at the moment. Guatz and Pondon having a nice fight into turn 1 as well. Guatz is looking very feisty on the back. I wonder if Zach RC is going to catch up right now tomorrow. We'll have to wait and see. Most of these drivers, by the way, have not pitted since lap 1, and we know these tyres are absolutely eating them right now, and they're going to have to think about pitting soon. Here comes Guatz. Is he going to go for a move in towards the first part of Mir? But he has had a bit of a slide. He's gone a bit too deep, but he doesn't care. At least he's able to keep it on the road. B-Roy, by the way, through the last part of Mirabeau, up into 10th. Also move on, Duncan. He's in the top 10 of this race. I would have not predicted that. And I think it stopped raining. Yes, it has. It stopped. It's hard to tell. Let's wait, mate. Let's see where we get through the tunnel. It stopped raining.
It has. Emerging out of the tunnel, the rain has dissipated, and what was a wet and wild and wacky race around Monaco begins to open up a new chapter. In this one, as Guatz tries to again feint to the inside on Pondon. Nothing doing there. Formula Karim might only have 3/4 of a front wing. It's probably pushing it. It has a bit more than that. But he set the fastest lap of this Grand Prix. What a way to show your pace than in the transitional period here in Monte Carlo. Goodness me, it's all happening, ladies and gentlemen, here in Monaco. And now the big question, of course, is when do they pit? Starting off with Guatz. Jessica, over to you for this pit stop.
Let's see then, is he going to go on to the slick tyres or is he going to stay on those wets? He's going on slicks. He's going on the slick tyres and he's going on the soft tyres. Now that is interesting. That is the hardest tyre available on the dries. So he's going to try and get those until the end of the race. But we have heard from some inside sources, Hayden Gullis, that it's going to be wet at the end of the race as well. So it's not going to last very long. So I wonder if some people's going to play the brave game and go on to, what do you call it, the super softs or the ultra softs? I don't know what type of tyre it is for these drivers. But we'll see if Guatz gains that time on his rivals. It's a bit cold at the moment. It's still very slippy through the next part of the Casino Square. And he's lost a bit of time. So I think it might have been a lap too early. F1 Scott comes in now. So does Alex. Well, maybe it might have been the right time to pit, but I don't know. It just still looks very slippy out on track, but the drivers know more. They're in the cockpit. We're in the commentary box. We'll see what they could do. As Karim, please don't tell me he's gone on the wrong tyre. Oh, he's changing his front wing. That probably explains it. Never mind. He goes on to a set of soft speed, drops way down the order. F1 Alex leads by 2.6 seconds. And we'll see if the softs are the way to go, or is it going to be wet still as Hoodie Pete comes in as well.
Oh, huge slide from Formula Karim out of the pit lane there. The track is still pretty cold out there. They've got to try and get those tyres up to temperature. That's the next endeavour they've got to experience. At this point as well, also, we haven't really alluded to it much, but it's actually the underrated dynamic of the lead. And that is F1 Scott, as gradually, bit by bit, he's been reeling in F1 Alex, even during the wet conditions, during the transitional period. A gap that was 4 seconds, he's caught up by 2 seconds, and now he has to show what his metal is made of with pure pace in the dry conditions. For his sake, he hopes it's tungsten. Towards the Novell chicane they go. We've still got drivers pitting. Chesnoid's one of them, down in P18, presumably also onto slick tyres. DRS now enabled. It is time, ladies and gentlemen. If you haven't got your wet tyres off already, not going to lie, you probably should. Almost everybody's out there now. Almost everybody's out there now on the slicks. Like we say, gotta get them up to temperature. Gotta keep it out of the walls. This is a crucial phase of the race here in terms of who can get the temperature into their tyres and also who can keep it out of the barriers. Formula Karim, though, is the man on the move. He is within a second of Kryzix in 4th.
Within a second, he is the dream man for the reason he is dreaming to believe that he could still win a Monaco race despite those penalties. but he's going to be able to try and get past these drivers first. He's got a full front wing now to contend with, which is great news. But the ones that are going to suffer from their own misfortunes are the ones who stayed on those wets. But it might help them. Another VSC. I don't know who for. I don't know.
Adam Sanderson. Adam Sanderson was in the wall at turn number 1. Had come out on those cold tyres. He'd been on them for a lap, but even so, into the wall at the first corner. Heroics were expressed into Sandivar. Jeff is not impressed. And there's a virtual safety car.
Where's the safety car?
At Myland, I think, might be a concept of fiction at this point.
I think I know what's happened. I think, because I've seen it happen in the F1 as well, the safety car in this damage mode just doesn't want to come out. VSCs, yes, but safety cars just hardly come out at all. It's just crazy. I mean, we've had, I think, 2 or 3 virtual safety cars and just no safety cars. What's it going to take, guys, Bert Mylander, to get a safety car, for goodness sake? But to be honest, the crash from Adam Sanderson was a VSC. It wasn't a safety car material anyway. But what we saw lap 1, it was a safety car. By the way, his teammate Zach RC has got front wing damage as well. So both the Prema cars of the Behrmans and the Antonellis, they haven't got to a good start at all in this next stint of the race with them getting front wing damage like that. They're going to have to pit. Zach RC's in the worst position because he's on the full wets, whereas Adam is on the... And if things go bad to worse for Adam, he's got to drive through. Gratz has got to drive through as well. They weren't anticipating the VSC to come in as quickly as they did.
It's heartbreak for Adam Sanderson as well. He came in and the virtual safety car had just disappeared. He's onto a new set of tyres on the purple banded super soft tyres, so it'll be interesting to see what heroics he can pull off with that compound of tyre. A good virtual safety car restart though for Mr. F1 Scott in P2. That was 2.2 seconds down to 1.6 at this stage. In the green machine, the Stabilo sensation as he completely cuts the Novel chicane.
That's a warning.
Whatever gains you time, I guess, to get almost under 2 seconds, and somehow the stewards look upon that rather kindly, all things considered. Battles, though, between, like I say, Formula Karim still trying to get that P4 position, albeit with a 3-second penalty to his name. In the wetter conditions, probably a slightly bigger performance gap between a lot of these drivers. In the dry conditions, though, they've all seemed to just level off a little bit. Saying that, though, the AIX man pushes the AIT car through the Rascasse, and out of the final corner they go. A helping hand of DRS is deployed by Formula Karim. He won't try and go for a move. You basically fundamentally have to be roughly alongside in order to make that move stick. He's weaving this way and that way, darting out from underneath the diffuser of Kryzik all the while. No way he's going to go round the outside of the under to the inside of Casino. Formula Karim, stop it, my friend. To the inside of where he goes, and it's marvellous in Monaco with a bit of flair and showboating to boot. Ferocious finesse from Formula Karim. What a move from the AIX driver.
Wow. I mean, Karim, I think I have in mind, Carl, who I think is going to get driver of the day. I think it could be Karim with the moves that he's made. He's been the one that's been entertaining us for the entirety of the evening so far. He doesn't need to win the race to make it entertaining for us. Everyone has made it entertaining. And Alex must have made a mistake because the gap has come down from 2.9 seconds to 1.2. F1 Scott is in a very fine position to be winning this race as he closes in quite considerably on the man who won the sprint race. And you can see that F1 Scott has got the fastest lap of this race. Gap now 9/10 of a second. Scott had a good chance, he said, of wanting to win this one. We know that Carl in the commentary box think that Scott also had a very good chance, as does quite a few people in the chat. Scott believes that he could do so. Alex thinks that he himself, Alex, wants to win as well. So the top two could win, but if these two will keep squabbling, Ricky could be in this as well. Don't count out Karim. There's so many unknowns. We don't know what's going to happen. Yellow flag. I think that was one of the VARs with Dan Moran, I think, in the background, who was just off-spit their front wing. But there we go. Scott's in a prime position to really overtake Alex here. We saw that in the sprint race where we saw Alex fighting with the driver in P2 and he managed to come out on top. It was Ultra Killer. Yeah, it was Ultra Killer. I was trying to remember who that was, and took the lead, and he stayed there. I wonder if Scott could do exactly the same here.
Scott has a chance here to put Alex under immense pressure. The fall notoriously just outrageously rapider than the climb is. It always is. It's so much more difficult to build yourself upwards momentum. Scott being the hunter, Alex certainly being hunted. Scott has him right in his crosshairs. And if you can pressurize Alex into some mistakes, get him some time penalties, as Formula Kareem absolutely blows the fastest lap time out of the water. 1 minute 19 lap time. That's absolutely ridiculous pace. As there's another yellow flag behind. I think it's Duncan again. He's had another problem, this time at the Novell chicane. Like that, running in P10 though. So it's not all bad when you put things into perspective for him. Through the lows hairpin they go, no. The gap begins to continue chipping away. F1 Scott within 6 temps underneath the AWS sponsorship, 1 million data points per whatever measurement of time they say it is. Scott only needs one crucial calculation to win this race though and take home a marvellous win here in Monaco. Look at the momentum he has. He is nipping at F1 Alex's heels with every single micrometer here in Monte Carlo.
Bring it on, says F1 Scott. He is a man on a mission. Alex is going to try and do what many drivers have done before. Defend for their life to win this one. We do not have that long to go until the end of this one. Adam's day, by the way, has gone from bad to worse with that 3-second penalty. But at least he still has a chance of claiming some point in this one. Through to turn number 1 in towards Saint-Devote. It is absolutely sensational stuff. And don't forget, we also got the threat of rain towards the end of the race, but it may not be enough for the 4 wet tyres, so they're going to be slipping and sliding everywhere, it seems, right now. I'm sure we will keep an eye on people's marks to see if it's going to rain at the end or if it's the game lying to us right now. 0.3 per second separating Scott and Alex once more. I think Scott's just playing it safe. That's what I would do. He got a P3 last time out in the sprint race, but he wants to do 2 better. Ultra Killer's getting a time penalty. There's more time penalties going left, right, and centre. By the way, the top 3 keeping it clean with penalties, as well as Cry6, Will, Pondon, and Matty D. If they could keep this up, they could gain a lot of positions in this race, which will come back to help them later on in this championship. What should Alex do right now? Because you can see Scott eating down the time every lap, and we know that Alex wants to do the double like we saw with Kareem last week.
He put his car in the right places, honestly. I saw Scott get right underneath his rear wheels, and he was making mistakes like that. You cannot afford to give Scott that much of an opportunity, especially with the DRS wing wide open towards turn number 1. It won't let him be close enough to make a move into the first corner. Through they go, round the right-hander and then up the hill towards the casino square. He can set up the opportunity into the left-hander if he wants to. But if I were F1 Alex at this point, I'd limit my own pace. I wouldn't try and showcase that I have got the overall legs. I've got a full front wing, I've got a full complement of aerodynamics, etc. I know that the track is pretty difficult to overtake at. I'd keep it roughly in the middle of the road, try and deter Scott from making moves, and try and relieve some of that pressure off yourself in a way. You create new pressure by playing the defensive game. But you've got to keep your cards close to your chest in that respect. You can't be showcasing that you're having problems with traction, with the rear tyres crying out all the time for extra traction, extra bite into the bitumen. All the while that F1 Scott hunts down F1 Alex, he's gaining confidence. He's gaining extra intel on what his tyres are doing, what his driving style is saying about what his emotional state might be, his psychological state, probably not his emotional state. I imagine F1 Alex is sitting pretty happy in P1, but if you're being pushed through Raskas, that can really throw things out of the window. And Scott throwing caution to the wind with DRS. All the while, time is ticking away. More yellow flags going on at the track, but that's been very quickly sorted out. The man who might be on the move again, though, in P4, he's rocketed up to the back of Ricky. It's Formula Kareem. Darts one way once again, and he's surely not going to go for the outside line once again. It would be outrageous to do it twice in a row. It's not going to happen in this instance, but he's knocking on the door again.
He is. He's going to try go for the move here. Nope, he's not. I would say he's going to do that on the final lap. Wait until the final lap with these two because they're going to go through all guns a blazing. We know that Crisis is catching up as well. That could be interesting as we got some yellow flags in the background as Matty D has hit the wall in the Nouvelle Chicane and he's got lost a bit of his front wing to boot. I think we almost saw Zach RC been in the background as well. Pondon's having a really lovely fight with himself and Duncan as well. We've got Ultra Killer fighting with Chesnoy Gaming and they almost lost a bit of their front wing as well as they make their way toward Anthony Nose side by side. Through there, let's see if Ultra Killer could have anything to answer to. Through towards turn 1, in Sandoval, down the inside he goes, and he's up to 13th. He almost didn't make the move stick, but they both gave each other room. Absolutely incredible. But let's draw our attention back to this lead battle. Through towards turn number 1. Alex is defending for his life, but he's made a mistake. He's made a mistake. Scott could see that. They're both going up the hill. They're banging wheels. Ricky could potentially see these two argy-bargy through these next set of corners, and they almost hit each other, but this is allowed in the Beta Series. F1 Scott down the inside. How on earth are they not getting damage through this? This is absolutely incredible. Bring Mirabeau for the final time. Heading towards the tunnel very soon. You can see Ricky and Formula Kareem catching up very soon too. It's absolutely insane. I don't know who's going to win this one. Scott has got to get the run through ASAP on F1 Alex. Otherwise F1 Alex is going to get this move sticks through there. This is going to be insane at last few moments. And I'll let you take it away, Carl.
Thank you, Jessica. So close for F1 Scott. He's right on the cusp of taking the win at the marvellous Monte Carlo track. The time's running out. Huge slip for Alex. He's being put under insurmountable pressure. All the while, F1 Scott, try as he might, to nip and tuck his way through. It's not going to happen. The double was done last week in Monte Carlo. The king of the streets, F1 Alex. It's the feature race here in Formula 2. That's an absolutely incredible drive from the virtuosi man. Even with all that pressure piled onto him, he still kept his head just about. And he's brought home the sprint win, the feature race win. F1 Scott comes home P2 and credit to him. He was fighting and fighting the whole time. He felt like nothing could have stopped him, but F1 Alex did just enough at the end to get down the inside of Mirabeau.
It was amazing.
The defining moment, a drive that surely defies description from F1 Alex. And he'll be the happiest man here in the 0-0 wings world of Monte Carlo.
He is the 0-0 queen, I have to say. And who would have predicted it? I was not expecting this. B-Roy P7... Hoodie P P8. Bravo to these two. Dan Moran in 9th as well. Those three take a bow. Matt just came across the line in depth. Oh, we got a pile up in Anthony Nose as we have two cars trying to get past them. Who's going to get 11th? Oh, hang on. I'm running on board with the wrong people. So we got Big Matt, Team Matt in 11th. Chesnoy Gaming 12th. Adam Sanderson in 13th. And I didn't see the rest of the order there. No, I didn't. So there we go. What? That was definitely entertaining so far. We have to pick our drive of the day, and I think the drive of the day, out of what all things considered, with the moves he's made, I'm going to have to give it to Kareem this week, my drive of the day.
It was sensational from Formula Kareem. Entertainment factor off the scale. It was absolutely beautiful. He said he was doing challenges. Disqualified himself out of the one-shot qualifying to give himself that ultimate uphill climb to make moves in Monaco. And he did a pretty damn good job at that all the way through. But the podium, ladies and gentlemen, the figure of royalty who stands on the top step, who lifts aloft the silverware at the Principality, F1 Alex, the king of Monaco. Raise the 7-up 3, Sprite 0, who knows what it is anymore? Who knows what it is? But congratulations as well to F1 Scott, to Ricky in P3. What a drive it was from all the drivers. Like we said here in the commentary box, an exemplary, the epitome of car control all the way through that. 0-0 Wings Monaco. Congratulations. You have not disappointed even slightly. Your final order for this race then, as it turns out, I'm not going to be able to see it. Jessica, can you see it?
No, because it's just ended.
Never mind. We don't get nice things here in the commentary box. We do know our top 3 though. Woo! Marvelous Monte Carlo. There you go. F1 and F2. Take notes to make Monaco interesting. Just have no downforce.
Yeah, just have no downforce and it will help you as well. And I wonder what wildcard and track we're going to get tomorrow. Bearing in mind, it's not going to be the same F1, for those of you that are wondering. But I'm excited to find out what's going on there. We do have our top 2, Carl, ready to talk to us in the commentary box. But let's start off with our race winner, double race winner, F1 Alex. Massive congratulations. How did you do it? And second of all, how do you feel after that one?
It's on!
Let's
go! That was my first ever sprint and feature win together.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
In the same week.
In the same week. That was my first ever one. That was insane. Do you know what? I think once you got used to the car, it was okay. It didn't feel that bad. Like, don't get me wrong, the car didn't turn. But yeah, no, it was actually real good fun. And battling with Scott at the end there, you know, me and Scott have been in F2 a few seasons now, so that was really good to battle with him.
The cream of the crop in the land of the kayaks, F1 Alex, you are. That was a cracking job from you. Absolutely cracking job. Just to talk about that stint at the end as well, when F1 Scott was darting every which way and what way and almost making that move into Mirabeau. How did you deal with that pressure from inside the cockpit?
Put the car in the middle of the track and hope you don't hit a wall.
It's the blueprint. I'll rate it.
Which is what I did on the last lap. I don't know if you saw that.
We did.
We did.
Yeah, I thought put the car in the middle of the track and then realised, actually, Alex, you've got to brake. So I slammed my brakes on and yeah, I clipped the wall. Me and Scott went up side by side. He got me and then I was late on the brakes again. Then we were side by side. Yeah, no, it was such good fun.
How does it feel to get that sprint and feature race win? Not only that, in the same week as well, because it feels like in a way for you at times, especially when we look back to Baku last week, it's felt like a long time coming for you. So just how sweet is it to be right up there?
Yeah, very sweet. You know, I had a really bad back end of last season and I had a really bad start to this season. But I don't know, something's just clicked. And I've not been practicing, strangely enough. I used to love the F2 cars. I used to race them. I used to practice them all the time on time trial.
Yes.
And
I used to get your setups as well.
Oh, right, there you go. And yeah, I've stopped doing that. You know, I've got a new job now, so I don't get home till quite late. So tonight it was a case of getting low time trial up, steal Formula Kareem setup, move it to 0-0 wings, and hope for the best. And yeah, and the best was P1 and P1. So we take that.
Yeah,
absolutely enthralling for you. Any other questions from you, Jessica?
Nothing from me. I'd just like to say bravo on that. You definitely delivered a spectacle there. It was about time for you to get the race wins you deserved this season. Next week, what track would... it's no F1 next week, real life F1 next week, is there? I can't remember if there is or not. But what track would you like to see this season for any of our Mystery Grand Prix coming up?
Jeddah.
Ooh.
Anybody watching, if anybody's watching now, obviously there'll be people in the chat and they can hear me. Prior to when we was all in the Discord, we was all talking about we really want Jeddah. We really want Jeddah. Sim damage Jeddah, I'll be honest.
But believe it or not,
yeah.
I could tell you the votes actually after Monaco. Monaco won by 36.3%. Second was Jeddah with 8.3%.
Yes.
So Jeddah was in second place. So there was a few people that wanted Jeddah.
Give us Jeddah. As far as my memory serves, I don't think we've ever raced Jeddah in F2. Either that or I wasn't here.
There was a final round of season 1.
Ah, maybe I wasn't here.
Honestly, that was it. That was fun. Let's just say.
No, yeah, I do remember. I DNF both races. So, guys, if you're listening, no Jeddah. We don't want Jeddah.
Love it. Love it,
shame,
love it, love
shame
it.
there's no for any more fan vote Grand Prix, but you never know. We'll have to wait and see on that one.
You never know. You never know. And can I just say a really, really big shout out to all the people behind the scenes at Creative Series. You guys are in the commentary. But the guys that that have turned it from what it was to what it is now. So much more fun based. And that's relating to performances on track because I get P1 both races. Let's go!
I'll echo our sentiments directly to you. Thank you. No, thank you so much. And thank you for giving us a lot of fun to commentate on. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the amazing, the astonishing, he's annihilated the Monaco Grand Prix race weekend, F1 Alex.
Woohoo!
Thank you very much, guys.
You're welcome. Take care, man.
Have a great weekend.
Thank you, you too. What a super drive. What a super drive from start to finish from F1 Alex, ladies and gentlemen. And, I mean, he said the blueprint right there, didn't he? Stick your car in the middle of the track and then try and defend as best you can. And even with that slight brush with the wall and whatnot, he kept his head. And that's the main thing. Keep your head, keep your position. And he's ultimately paid dividends for it.
And you know what? I love to hear what went on from the other side of that coin. Because obviously F1 Alex went on to take the win. Someone had to miss out on the win and get second place. But I have to say, he put on a very valiant fight. F1 Scott, absolutely great fight at the end. You just missed out on the win. But I can tell you and Alex had a lot of fun there towards the end of that race.
It was banging, yeah. But didn't I tell you? Like, I'm just a second to I'm just never the bride. I'm always the bridesmaid. That's me. That's my life. Yet again. But I will get him next time. I probably could have got my elbows out a little bit more, but do you know what? We had fun. I think it was quite good. We done our best.
No, it was an excellent drive from you, F1 Scott, in the end. Unlucky not to get it in the end, really, because I genuinely thought you'd done it when it got to Mirabeau, but then he sent it for a new one. But there you go.
He did dive bomb of the century, right?
Yeah, he
did.
I'll be having nightmares about that one for weeks. I will
like
get
a
him back.
cruise missile, F1 Alex. It's coming, ladies and gentlemen. It's a long time coming, F1 Scott. Your time will come, but I think one of my main questions as well is going from the sprint into the main race. Obviously, you had that upwards momentum between the two. So was there any mental change you made between the sprint and the feature race? Obviously, given as well the wet conditions had a part to play.
The wet was brutal, to be honest. Alex was fast on the wet. I was struggling with it. It's just hard, especially with the 0-0 wing. The 0-0 wings was not as hard as I expected it to be. That was kind of fun. It was a very enjoyable race, and yeah, I think that's it.
No, absolutely wonderful. Talk us through. I think purely that last lap, you'd whittled away at the gap all the way through that race, but just that last lap, that first sector in particular, just talk us through that, because that was some mind-boggling racing between you two.
So the worst thing about 0-0 wildcard is when I had the DRS, I didn't gain much, so I was trying to get the move done into turn one. He went deep and slowed down all the way up the hill. I was catching up, but it's Monaco, right? It's like, I know the cars are smaller, but like, we'll do your best. I tried to go around the inside. It was like turn 3-4. I just sort of had to send it, and he defended it well, to be fair. Other than outbraking himself and kind of cutting me off just before the hairpin, yeah, it was really fun. I wasn't going to back out, but I probably left more space than I should have.
That's excellent, absolutely excellent. Jessica, anything from you? Final.
I have to say, you've entertained us through both races, I have to say. One of the Kings of Monaco. What track would you like to see in the Creative Series this season in any of our Mystery Grand Prix that we haven't seen yet?
Jeddah. Let's bring Jeddah back.
You're not the first person that said that.
That's two people that said Jeddah.
F2 Jeddah is very fun, so yeah, that would be great.
That came second place in the votes. At 8.3%, right. But it came second.
Yeah, well, I feel like everyone knew it was going to be Monaco 0-0. As I said earlier, like, we had hope that people that watch this have our spirits in mind, and they did, so they gave us that, and it was so much fun. Except for Adam Sanderson and the bin, I should say. And our gap in this championship only increases more and more.
Your rivalry with Adam Sanderson is always great, by the way. That's the best bit.
Sandy's in the bin.
Yes.
He's in the bin. And he knows it. And today he had to accept it a little. He'll come back fighting like he always does. And I look forward to that next week.
Brilliant. Well, what an entertaining show you put on for us. F1 Scott, P2 in the feature race today. A great week overall. Congratulations to you, sir.
Thank you. Well done. Take care. Bye.
You
Bye,
too.
Scott.
Bye.
And we got one more person, hopefully, that wants to speak to us, who finished P3 on the podium. One of the debutants to the Creator Series. First of all, welcome to the Creator Series and congratulations. Podium on debut. Things couldn't get any better. Congratulations, Ricky.
Yeah, thank you all. I did well today, but I was into the sprint. I get out.
Yeah,
by someone,
that was a shame. I was gutted, by the way.
Yeah, because I was like for the points by 17th. I don't know. But yeah, the feature race was good.
Oh, it's excellent from you, Ricky. Firstly, grande Ricky, I feel like I'm entitled to say. It was
Yeah, grande.
absolutely brilliant from you. Talk us through, what was it like to run those 0-0 wings, especially round the track like Monaco today?
Yeah, that was not like very hard for me. I put like a normal setup for racing in tracks like Monza, and yeah, I did well. I was like fast, and it went all good. It went all good, and yeah, I'm on the podium, guys.
Yes.
No, it's
For the
great.
first
It's
time.
absolutely on your debut as well. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, it must be that. Exactly, but it must be pretty sweet in that respect. It's your first week in the F2 Creator Series. You've got yourself that P3. Just how sweet is that for you?
Yeah, it's very cool because I dreamed about this.
I
when
think
I
a
was
lot of
child.
people are dreaming to be in the Creator Series, to be fair.
When I was a child, I dreamed about this, and yeah, it's so cool. It's so cool to be here, battling with other content creators. It's very fun, and yeah, doing my job. It's the funniest thing I could have, like.
And isn't it great to have another Italian on the grid as well? In our reserve for it's brilliant. We always do well here. I mean, going into the calendar, of course, hopefully we'll see you racing again soon because we absolutely loved your action out there on track today. What track would, out of the tracks that we haven't seen, would you like to see on the calendar coming up for any of our question mark or mystery Grand Prix?
Well, I'm like the other ones. I like Jeddah so much, so I want to see Jeddah because it's really fast. It's really a technical circuit, and I really like it. I want to race in it, but yeah, next time.
Admins, make it happen at some point, please. On F124, put Jeddah in the F2 cars. It's actually got a lot of fun on this game, actually, compared to I hated it on the last few games, but I absolutely love it on this game. It's brilliant. So, I echo that sentiment. But we'll let you go and enjoy your evening. But since it's your debut, do you want to give any shout-outs to anybody?
I don't know. I love my community. I love you all. Thank you for the interview, and see you next time if I get a seat. I don't know.
A delightful debut from Ricky. An absolutely delightful debut. Congratulations, mate. And enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Have a great weekend, mate. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Oh. That was fantastic to hear from, I think I was someone that dreamt about going into the Creator Series. Next minute at the beginning of the week, you get the call up that you're going to be in the Creator Series, and then on the Thursday night, you get told that you were going to be racing, and he got that podium.
It's forged his fairy tale for the Italian driver. What a wholesome debut interview from Ricky. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the Monaco Marvel is almost being drawn to a close. I know, another insane week of Formula 2. Baku last week, you thought that was crazy. Monaco didn't disappoint either. Absolutely brilliant stuff. And again, we have to draw our attention to, really, that battle at the front. F1 Alex, what a drive from him today.
I think Alex was the superstar at the entire thing. Bearing in mind he was towards the end of the championship anyway, so he started near the front. But it's sometimes you have to put your money where your mouth is. You've got to put yourself in the right place. And I think if he started near the back in the sprint, I think he would have climbed up near the front anyway. He is that quick around Monaco. He did well last time we were around Monaco as well. Very impressive. And he did well here today as well. I think it's always a turning point. As soon as you get your first win of the season, that more wins come at you. And I think we're going to see exactly the same for F1 Alex going through. He just needed that click. Something clicked for him, he was saying in his interview.
Absolutely. An astonishing F1 Alex drive today. F1 Scott came so close, but yet so you have to feel for him. He's been the bridesmaid so many times. But with a drive like that today, you can't help but feel that surely that race win is just around the corner for him.
Yeah, I think there's plenty of drivers that have still got race victories. The F1 Scott definitely. Ricky after tonight as well. You know, Kareem could have got in there without that penalty. There's just so many people that haven't got any race wins, but just missed out. And of course, we have to give a shout out to Pete and B-Roy. Even after their trouble, still managing to get inside the top 10. Those two are definitely ones to shout out as well.
Everyone putting on a show in their own regard. Well done to all the drivers. At the end of the day, it's like we say, exemplary car control all the way through. A lot of people rather unlucky, I guess, in a lot of ways, or also just misjudging that wild card. But that's what made the wild card at the end of the day. You lot voted for it. Hope it didn't disappoint you, because it did catch out a lot of people around this street circuit.
I voted for it. I voted for this combination, and I'm glad. I was hoping this was going to happen, and I'm glad we got it.
It's a commentary box conspiracy, ladies and gentlemen. I don't believe it. Well, all that's left to do, really, is first of all, like we say, decide who our driver of the day is, although I think we decided that pretty quickly, didn't we, Jess?
It was Kareem. Yeah. With those moves that he made out of nowhere, it was incredible. So, yeah, we're going to have to give it to Kareem. So, well done, driver of the day. And we also got to plug the Creator Series socials. Make sure you check out the socials, F1 Creator Series. It's right at the top there somewhere. I don't know. I'm be pointing in the wrong places. I don't know. F1 Creator Series on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and X. And we post shorts in there as well. I'm sure there's going to be loads of shorts after this one. And you can also follow us on our socials. Carl, where can we find you?
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'll tell you where you can't find me, and that's in France. But where you can find me is all of my social medias. I'm Carl Paranic basically everywhere. You can't get my name wrong, really. Basically, no one else has it. So you'll find me there. Also have a YouTube channel called Carl's Cars. Carl with a C. Cars with a C. That's a tongue twister. But go there if you want to enjoy some more of what I do. Jess, where can we find you?
Well, most of my socials, you can find me at JessGames925 on YouTube, Twitch, TikTok, X, Instagram, you name it. I also run a league as well called One Hub Racing. We stream every Sunday night. I race in it. I commentate on it straight after. It's a lot of fun. I also do a few streams on the Red Bull account as well because I'm part of the Red Bull team. So, yeah, you can find me there. And if you want to see more of my action. But, Carl, I'll let you round off the stream, my friend.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Jessica. Well, what an absolute pleasure it's been to be a part of this F2 Creator Series broadcast powered by EA Sports once again. A huge thank you to all of you at home for watching. Like we say, follow the Creator Series socials and whatnot to keep up with all of the goings on, etc. Make sure you don't miss the F1 tomorrow evening. We don't know what track it is. You don't know what track it is. But one thing's for certain, it's going to be manic. And that's all we can propose to you for that one. Also, we also talked about F1 Alex alluded to it. We talk about the people behind the scenes doing all of the hard graft. Today, ladies and gentlemen, I can confirm on production, and what a job she's done with it. Jess, well done on production tonight. You've been brilliant. Well done.
I think it was redemption on my first production I did at Zandvoort ages ago, and that went horribly, but I really enjoyed it today. It was a lot of fun. I had to control every which way, but yeah, it was Really good. I hope to do more of this in the future. And I like to say thanks to Gareth, the mastermind of it all, the production man. He was meant to be producer, but he had to go all the way to Nottingham tonight. But he was the one who helped me set this up. So without Gareth, there would literally be no stream tonight. So thank you to him for helping me get this set up ready for you to see this lovely action.
Words couldn't be spoken. A pleasure to commentate for you all. Like I say, a pleasure to commentate alongside you, Jessica, for a second consecutive week of street circuit
We're off next
chaos.
week, though, so we're not going to commentate.
We are. it's not us. If you're sick of us, have fun. That's all we'll say. Don't be sick of us. That's really mean. Anyway, that's it. The marvel at Monaco, what once was adorned with sunshine, draws to a close with dusk and nightfall. But it's been one hell of a ride. If you did enjoy, give us all a follow and follow the Creator Series socials and whatnot. F1 is tomorrow night. Be there. You don't want to miss it. But until the next broadcast and until the next round of the ferocious Formula 2 Championship, we thank you all so much for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day. And goodbye.
Bye-bye now.